Welcome back.
Hey, guys.
I'm Randy Buehler here with Brian David Marshall, and we are just about done with the lunch break. We're going to come back in on the match between Gabriel Nassif and Makihito Mihara. While we were off camera, Gabe lost Game 3. Huge upset. He had yet another Turn 1 Martyr of Sands, but no white cards.
He just had a poor hand. All the French players between the coverage team and who in the room were all just muttering.
Yeah.
Muttering. They wish they were muttering. They were muttering, did we misjudge this? I mean, this seemed like such an overwhelming matchup for Nassif, right. And that's what we thought also.
Right.
But between the two games he lost, I mean, he probably drew about 12 lands. So the game, the deck sort of misfired. Yeah. Perhaps Nassif made some questionable mulliganing decisions. We don't know.
Yeah, I talked to Nassif, and yeah, I mean, he had the Muse Vessel going. It seemed like Nassif actually thinks this match is better after sideboarding. He thought the same thing about the Tiago Chan match. That's another match where he took Game 1 and then he lost 2 and 3. Both times he felt like my deck should be even better after sideboarding, but I mean, if this one goes the same way the Tiago Chan match went, he's fine, right? He wins Game 4, he wins Game 5, and he's good.
He seems tremendously advantaged. And for all the reasons we talked about before the lunch break.
Yeah. I would think he's still a favorite, even though he's down 2-1. Yeah, so. Gabe and Makihito have sat down to the tables. Looks like they've drawn up their hands. And so the plan is we'll watch Game 4 and Game 5 if there is one, but to finish off the semifinals. Meanwhile, the team draft is going to be going on. They're going to be off camera. The Japanese and the Dutch are going to be drafting the decks that they'll use to play out the World Team Championship. So we'll be sure to get you some coverage of the draft. We've got Scott Johns and Ted Knutson, John Becker keeping an eye on that draft. We'll make sure to keep you guys updated on what's going on. And then they'll build their decks. They'll come back. They'll play the team title. But we got a semifinal to finish first.
A pretty important semifinal.
Yeah, this is Nassif. Maybe Nassif's legacy at stake. How much does he accomplish here?
Again, it's a very small handful of players who have very small handful of players with multiple Pro Tour wins.
All right. Well, we will be right back. Group. We will be right back to find out if Gabriel Nassif can win this match and get through to the finals. Welcome back to the 2006 World Championship semifinals. I'm Randy Buehler. I'm here with Brian David Marshall, and we are in the second semifinal. Ryo Ogura is already through to the finals. Gabriel Nassif and Makihito Mihara both want to meet him there. Mihara is up 2-1, which is a pretty big surprise.
Stunning, really.
His Dragonstorm deck does not seem to have a good matchup against the Martyr of Sands Proclamation of Rebirth combination that Gabriel Nassif has brought to the table. But Nassif's deck sputtered. He dropped Game 2 and Game 3, and now he's lost his margin for error. He's got to win 2 straight if he wants to get to the finals and take on Ryo Ogura.
Seems to me like there's a very small window for Mihara's deck to break in and upset Nassif's game plan.
True.
Especially with Cop Red, with Life Gain, with Wrath of God. He has a very and Muse Vessel, which we've talked about.
I
which
actually
is
don't even think it's a different window than the one he normally has against like a Boros deck, right? I mean, I think he basically plays his Dragonstorm deck, tries to go off on turn 4 or 5 as quickly as possible, and then just hopes. Like against Boros, you go off on turn 4, you pretty much win the game. Against Gabe, you got to try to go off and hope Gabe sputters. If he's got a Martyr, though, or he's got a Cop Red, or he's got whatever, you don't win the game, but, I mean, what are you going to do? His best chance, Mihara's best chance, it's just, I think, to play his combo deck normally and hope it works. It's just not likely to work. I mean, you can also summon creatures and hope that works. That's kind of what happened in Game 3. He had a Teferi that was attacking and then played a dragon out at the end.
And when you say a Teferi, you're not kidding?
It's the one in from the sideboard.
It's the one in from the sideboard.
He actually used a Lotus to get it out early.
He has a Teferi.
All right.
So
Nassif has played a Signet. Clearly did not have the turn 1 Martyr that he had in Games 2 and 3. Mihara has just played a couple of Slights.
Yep.
There's Makihito Mihara. Barely escaped the quarterfinals. Actually had to top deck a 2-outer. Had to repeal into a Ritual. Pulled it off.
Compulsive Research for Nassif on turn 3.
Right.
That's kind of scary, right?
Is it?
Well, I mean, Seething Song next turn. Is that no? That's probably not enough. You need the rights.
No, that's not right.
You need the God Hand there.
Right. He's got to go like a
So
right.
He's got a clear window to do that.
Yeah, with no Lotus, it's hard to go off this fast. Well, I guess you can't get to Lotus on this turn anyway.
Right.
What does Mahara have? Yeah.
Telling time.
It's a little more deck manipulation. Setting himself
Interesting
up.
that he chose to do that during his
Main phase.
his main phase.
Yeah, I agree.
Probably looking to see if he can find a Lotus, suspend it.
Sure. It's also
Yeah,
a shot to do it without
doesn't have
getting
to worry
remanded.
about remand.
I don't
Sure.
think he'd be. I mean, if he wanted to play around remand, he might just. I mean, that's the card you want to get remanded, right? Rather than something in the middle of the combo. Gabe draws the card for his turn.
Card in hand, please. Tip 7.
So
Gabe's hand is not great. He's got a couple of Signets. He's got a Faith's Fetters. He's got a couple Proclamations of Rebirth, but no Martyr. I think
And
I
he's
did
got-
see a
he's-
remand, though.
the question is whether or not he was going to.
So Signet. Yeah, I thought about the Faith Fetters on something just to gain 4 life, but
Right.
this seems better. I think I like this play better. He's still got Remand mana.
Right. I mean, theoretically, he could have Faith Fettered the Calciform pools and shut off its ability to accumulate
Yeah, but
counters.
Mahara's not going to go off into one mana. Was that the Martyr? Oh, I think Gabe just drew the Martyr.
He's got a couple of
He's got
proclamations in there.
3 other white cards, including 2 Proclamations. That's basically game, right?
Should be basic game.
2 remands to defend himself. He plays the Martyr, sacks at end step, gains 9.
What's Nassif thinking about here? And what's going through his mind? What are his concerns about?
Probably trying to imagine the hand that Mahara could have.
You have 7 cards.
Like, does he...
A lot of possibilities at 7 cards.
Sure. I'll tell you exactly what Nassif is doing. Bluffing.
Oh.
This hand has no decisions whatsoever. You clearly play the Martyr and chip the turn. However, if he just plays the Martyr and chips the turn, then Mahara can start to really piece his hand together. By thinking, Mahara's got to be wondering what Gabe's thinking about. He's wondering the same thing we are.
Right.
Mahara's like, what? He's trying to... Now, he's going to be totally thrown off. His
Sure,
efforts to deduce Gabe's hand are actually just plain thrown off by Gabe's thinking right there.
And he's seen Martyr fizzle for 2 straight games.
It's true. Yeah, Mahara ships the turn.
Mahara's going to wait on a Giga Drowse.
I'm surprised Gabe didn't sack the Martyr there. And Proclamation. Maybe that's what Gabe was thinking about. He's trying to figure out, do I want to just gain life and Proclamation, or do I want to sit on these 2 remands? Decided to sit on the remands. Like, Proclamation would take basically all of his mana. And that's not what he wants to do right here. Is he going to use the Fetters? Yeah, he uses the Fetters on the Calciform pools.
Yeah.
Now, does that prevents it from getting counters?
But I don't
Does not prevent it from
believe it
tapping for
prevents
mana.
mana sources.
Okay.
And taking the counters off is a mana source. So
D4.
Mahara responds by putting a second counter on there. Gabe goes up 4 life from the Fetters, but now that's less life that he'll gain off the Martyr. Kind of an interesting decision. I guess he wants to take Hardcast Dragon out of play.
Sure.
He's willing to lose 3 life per Martyr in order to make sure those dragons don't come out anytime soon.
Yeah, sure.
Meanwhile, on the back part of the stage, the Dutch and the Japanese have gotten underway. They are now doing a time spiral Rochester draft, Team Rochester draft, to decide the decks that they're going to use. Boy, what a matchup!
What a match! And really, it's the nephew of the Seattle finals, right? It's not quite directly passed out.
Oh, there's the Giga Drowse you were talking about,
Camille Cornelison was in the finals of Pro Tour Seattle.
right? Playing against Itaru Ishida.
Beat Itaru Shida, and Itaru Shida coached Katsuhiro Mori for this event.
Yeah, Mori,
Team
the
Rochester.
clear intellectual descendant of Itaru Ishida in this format. And
Ooh,
Mori,
intellectual descendant. That's a great
Oh,
description.
you like that?
I do. Well, I mean, you can't.
There's Giga Drowse taking away the 1 white mana. You got to sack Martyr
Well, you
here,
have
right?
to sack the Martyr here because it's conceivable that he could have. Well, he can't. He can have 5 dragons.
Yeah. Yeah, I
4
would sack
Bogardan
Martyr here.
4 Bogardan Hellkites and a. Oh, is this Trick Bind?